Hey everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder of videos, and tabletop role-playing aficionado. After much internal deliberation, reflecting on the Patreon poll, and reading all of your comments, I have reached a decision on our next D&D campaign that puts me back in the DM chair. First, if you haven't watched my private Patreon stream turn public video, it's called Let's Discuss My Next D&D Adventure, and features the 5 campaigns or ideas that I have narrowed down my list to. A poll was available for patrons to vote on, which I will share with all of you in a moment. I do want to lightly chastise all of you for knowing nothing about Quest for Glory. No comments, almost no votes. I'm not surprised given the series is 25 to 30 years old, and it would have been a very challenging undertaking to convert it to a D&D campaign, but zero interest. That's a bummer. Alright, without further ado, I have chosen as my next DM'd D&D campaign Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden. Try to avoid the window glare coming at you. Yay! This is the campaign that I am most excited about running right now. Yes, it's the most recent release and the freshest in my mind, but it's also the one that I kept coming back to and thinking about all the changes and improvements for me that I can make while still using the bulk of the content. It's also all ready to go in Roll20, so I can spend more time planning fun story stuff and characters rather than building maps and character sheets. And like Tomb of Annihilation, it's a published campaign, which always has a high appeal and makes the crafting series a lot of fun because many of you can bring your own thoughts and experiences from the campaign. I can share with you the Patreon poll. There we go. Frostmaiden did win the Patreon poll with Curse of Strahd in second place. The only real shocker here was that Eberron was so far behind. Y'all are really married to the Forgotten Realms. For me, it really came, even though Strahd was second place, I just wasn't really ever feeling Strahd, but I wanted to throw it out there and see where you all were. You all still really like Strahd, good to know. For me, it really came down to the Nautical campaign, which was the Ghosts of Saltmarsh / Call from the Deep spliced together versus Frostmaiden, but I just felt a clearer picture of the Icewind Dale campaign the more I read from the book, the more the story ideas started coming together and what I wanted to do with it. So yes, there will be weekly crafting episodes, but not for a while. At the time of this recording, this is November 2020, and as I mentioned several times, we're still in the middle of our current homebrew high-level campaign, War for the Lost Plane. That was originally supposed to end around December, but it's looking like it will actually take us well into next spring. These are live D&D shows, so pacing and scheduling is always a bit iffy, but I wouldn't expect our Icewind Dale Frostmaiden campaign to start until next spring at the earliest, which means I don't want to start doing weekly crafting streams right now, as we'd end up with like 20 or so before starting the campaign. I'll be conferring with patrons on what the best compromise is in terms of, do I want to do just, bi-weekly or even rarer than that live streams, or do I just want to release maybe some videos about my thought process for planning Icewind Dale, kind of like what I did for Tomb of Annihilation, except for Tomb I only did a post thing. I did a top 10 list, and this time it would be a here's my ideas for the prep, and then it'd be interesting to compare that to after having run the actual campaign. For those of you that are new to the channel, part of what I stream are weekly planning and prep sessions, which are in Tomb of Annihilation was Crafting Annihilation. This time will be Crafting Icewind Dale. And I will continue that with Icewind Dale, but I'm just trying to determine when to actually start them relative to the campaign, because I also don't want to over prep too much, and I don't know who my player characters are going to be yet, so I'd like to time it better where, yes, it'd be fun to definitely do some craftings, maybe even 5, 6, 7, 8 lining up until we start the campaign, but I definitely don't want to do like 20-some. And another nice thing is some of you may be playing Frostmaiden right now and worried that you won't be able to watch our stream because of spoilers. Well, you've got until next spring until we start, although I would recommend still avoiding the crafting live streams, because that will be full of spoilers where I will talk about the entire campaign from start to finish, because a lot of the changes that I'm making will include a lot of the endgame stuff and how to better kind of weave the plot together. For now, if you haven't already, please join our Discord server, and we can chat about Frostmaiden there. I'll be starting a Frostmaiden channel. Please use the No Players Allowed channel, however, if you're going to discuss spoilers, or use the spoiler redacted black boxes so that we don't accidentally reveal anything to my players. As a further bonus, I also want to announce that I will be live streaming Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition as a fun overlap with my Let's Play series. However, again, I don't want to start it too soon, as from what I can tell, it's not as long as Baldur's Gate 2, which is my only real experience with the Infinity Engine games. And I just wrapped up my Baldur's Gate 3 early access playthrough last week, so I'll be slotting in something a bit quicker, something between 15 and 20 hours. I just put a poll up on the Patreon page where patrons can vote for what I want to play next to kind of get me to the end of the year, maybe take a little bit of time off for the holidays, and then start off with Icewind Dale probably around January 2021. And that way it would be a fun kind of precursor to Rime of the Frostmaiden. I have no idea if any of the story stuff is relevant, but it takes place there. And then either be wrapping it up or still playing it when we actually start our Icewind Dale campaign. So, there you have it. Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden will be our next D&D campaign after War for the Lost Plane ends. I'm really looking forward to it, looking forward to discussing it with all of you, and looking forward to a brighter future in 2021. Hopefully.